Have you ever opened your eyes in the morning and felt heavy instantly? Like before your feet even touched the floor, your mind was already crowded with worries, unfinished tasks, old arguments, and everything that could go wrong today. Maybe you wake up thinking about bills, maybe deadlines, maybe something someone said yesterday that still hurts more than it should. And before the day even begins, you already feel tired, emotionally defeated. If that sounds familiar, if your mornings feel more like stepping into a war zone than receiving a gift, then this story is for you. Because once there was a man who woke up irritated at life every single morning, until one simple habit, just 5 minutes a day, slowly rewired everything. Not just his mornings, his entire life. Stay with me. In a fast-moving city where glass buildings scraped the sky and people rushed from place to place without looking up, lived a 35-year-old man named Evan. From the outside, Evan's life looked fine. He had a stable job as an accountant, a clean apartment, enough income to cover rent and groceries. If someone looked at his life on paper, they'd say he had no reason to complain. But every morning told a different story. The moment Evan's alarm rang, his first thought wasn't appreciation. It was resistance. Another day, more work, more stress. He lay in bed scrolling on his phone, absorbing bad news, arguments, and carefully edited versions of other people's happiness, vacations, promotions, smiling faces that made his own life feel dull in comparison. By the time he stood up, his mood was already ruined. At breakfast, he barely tasted the food. His body was at the table, but his mind was already trapped at the office, imagining meetings, problems, emails he didn't want to answer. One morning, sitting across from him, his girlfriend Lena watched him quietly stir his coffee. Then she asked gently, "When was the last time you actually enjoyed waking up?" Evan stared into the cup, searching his memory. Nothing came. "I honestly don't know," he finally said. "Maybe when I was a kid, before life got complicated." Lena reached for his hand. "You're alive. You're healthy. You're loved," she said softly. "But you wake up like life is a burden instead of a blessing." The words hurt because they were true. Evan didn't choose to be negative. It had become automatic, like breathing, and he had no idea how to stop. Until one early morning changed everything. Evan didn't argue with Lena. He couldn't. Deep down, he knew she was right. Negativity wasn't something that happened to him anymore. It was something he brought into every morning without realizing it. He kept telling himself the same lie. "I'll feel better when things improve, when I earn more, when work gets easier, when life finally slows down." But improvement never arrived because the finish line kept moving. As weeks passed, the heaviness followed him everywhere. His sleep grew shallow. Small problems felt massive. Even good news barely registered. When Evan received a small raise at work, it should have felt like progress. Instead, his first thought was, "It's still not enough." A sunny day annoyed him because it meant crowded streets. A free weekend stressed him because he didn't know how to enjoy it. Without noticing, he had become the person who found flaws in every situation. Lena felt it too. Their conversation shortened. Silence lasted longer. Laughter became rare. One evening after a long day, she finally said what she'd been holding in. "I love you," she said carefully, "but I can't keep waking up next to someone who hates waking up." The words landed hard. Not angry, not dramatic, honest. That night, Evan lay awake staring at the ceiling while the city hummed outside. He asked himself a question he'd avoided for years. When did I become this person? He remembered a younger version of himself, someone who noticed small things, who laughed easily, who didn't wake up already exhausted by life. Where did that version go? The next morning, Evan woke up earlier than usual, 5:30 a.m. He couldn't fall back asleep. Normally, he would have grabbed his phone and drowned in noise, but something stopped him. Instead, he put on a jacket and stepped outside. The city was different at this hour. Quiet, clean, almost gentle. The air felt lighter. The streets were nearly empty. As he walked, his breathing slowed for the first time in weeks. In a small park near his apartment, he noticed an elderly man sitting on a bench, tossing crumbs to a group of birds. The man looked to be in his 70s, dressed simply, relaxed, completely out of place, in a city that never slowed down. And he was smiling, not at anything specific, just smiling. Evan felt drawn to that bench. "Mind if I sit?" he asked. The man nodded warmly. "Please." They sat quietly, watching the birds flutter and hop. After a moment, Evan spoke. "You look happy," he said. "How?" The old man chuckled softly. "That's because you think happiness is something you find," he said. "Isn't it?" Evan asked. The man shook his head. "No," he replied. "Happiness is something you practice." That single word, practice, stuck in Evan's mind. And the next question he asked would reveal why his mornings felt so heavy, and how just 5 minutes could begin to undo years of damage. "Practice?" Evan repeated, confused. "You mean like training?" The old man nodded slowly, as if Evan had just unlocked the right word. "Exactly like training," he said. "Tell me, what was the very first thought in your head when you woke up this morning?" Evan hesitated. He wanted to give a nicer answer, but honesty slipped out. "Honestly, I thought, here we go again, another day to survive." The old man didn't look surprised. "And yesterday morning?" he asked. Evan exhaled. "The same. And the day before that?" Evan stopped speaking. In that silence, something uncomfortable became clear. Every morning had followed the same script for years. Wake up. Dread. Complaint. Comparison. Anxiety. The old man leaned back on the bench. "My friend," he said gently, "you've been training your mind for a long time." "Training it for what?" Evan asked. "To notice what's wrong," the man replied. "To expect frustration. To look for problems before anything else." The words hit Evan harder than he expected. Training. He had never thought of it that way. "So that's why it feels automatic?" Evan asked quietly. "Yes," the man said. "You practice negativity every morning without realizing it. And now you're very good at it." Evan felt a strange mix of relief and discomfort. Relief, because maybe he wasn't broken. Discomfort, because the problem wasn't the world. It was his attention. "Is there a way to stop?" Evan asked. "Or undo it?" The old man smiled, the same calm smile Evan had noticed from across the park. "There is," he said, "and it starts with 5 minutes." He reached into his jacket and pulled out a small, worn notebook. The cover was creased, the pages thick with handwriting. "For over 20 years, Rubber," he said, "I've done the same thing every morning. Before the phone, before the news, before the day begins." He opened the notebook and turned it toward Evan. "I write down 3 things I'm grateful for." Evan blinked. "That's it?" The old man laughed softly. "That's all." Seeing Evan's skepticism, the man picked up 2 small stones from the ground, one dark, one light. "Imagine your mind is a garden," he said, placing the stones in his palm. "Every morning you plant seeds." He lifted the dark stone. "If you plant worry, complaint, and fear, that's what grows all day." Then he lifted the light stone. "But if you plant gratitude, real appreciation, something else grows instead." He placed both stones into Evan's hand. "Right now," he continued, "your garden is full of dark stones, not because you chose badly once, but because you planted the same seeds every day for years." Evan stared at the stones. "And the miracle?" the old man said softly. "You can change what you plant starting tomorrow." Evan wanted to believe it was that simple. But the next question haunted him. What if 5 minutes couldn't undo years of negativity? The answer would come with a rule he didn't expect. Evan rolled the 2 stones in his palm, feeling their weight. "Gratitude sounds nice," he said carefully. "But my problems don't disappear just because I write something down." The old man nodded. "Of course they don't. Gratitude isn't pretending life is perfect. It's choosing where your attention goes before life starts pulling at you." He tapped the notebook gently. "Let me be clear," he said. "This isn't positive thinking, it's attention training." Evan looked up. "What's the difference?" "Positive thinking says everything is fine, even when it isn't," the man explained. "Attention training says, even in an imperfect life, something good exists, and I will notice it on purpose." He flipped a page in the notebook and pointed to that morning's entry. "Look," he said, 1. The sunlight warming my face through the window. 2. The smell of coffee brewing. 3. My neighbor's granddaughter waving at me yesterday. Evan frowned slightly. Those are small. The old man smiled. Exactly. The small things are the life you're actually living, he said. The big things, success, money, future goals, those are ideas. But the small moments, they're real. They're now. He closed the notebook. Here's the rule, he said. Every morning before your feet touch the floor, before you touch your phone, before your mind starts racing, you take 5 minutes. Just 5. You write down 3 specific things you're grateful for from the previous day. Not vague things like health or family, specific moments. Evan nodded slowly. And then, he asked. Then you live your day, the man replied. But something interesting happens. He leaned closer. At first, it will feel fake, forced. Your mind will say, this is pointless. That's normal. Evan almost laughed. It already feels pointless. Good, the man said. That means you're honest. He continued. After about a week, something shifts. You'll start looking for good moments during the day because you know you'll need 3 tomorrow. After 2 weeks, he said, you'll catch yourself appreciating things as they happen. And after a month, he said softly, you'll realize your life didn't change, but your experience of it did. The man reached into his bag and pulled out a thin blank notebook. 30 days, he said, placing it in Evan's hands. That's all I ask. No skipping, no judging, just practice. Evan felt the notebook's weight, light but meaningful. What if I forget? Evan asked. Then you begin again the next morning, the man replied. This isn't about perfection. It's about direction. Evan looked up. Why are you telling me this? The old man smiled gently. Because someone once sat on this same bench and taught me, he said. And it saved me years of waking up angry at a life I didn't actually hate. Evan swallowed. I'll try, he said. I don't know if it'll work, but I'll try. The old man nodded, satisfied. Good, he said. Then tomorrow morning becomes day 1. Evan thought writing 3 simple sentences couldn't possibly change anything, but the next morning, staring at a blank page, he would realize something surprising. He didn't know what to write at all. Evan woke up at 6 o'clock the next morning to the sound of his alarm. His hand moved toward his phone automatically. Then it stopped. He remembered the notebook sitting on the nightstand. For a moment, he just stared at it. This was the point where most good ideas quietly died. He picked it up anyway. The first page was blank, clean, intimidating. 3 things I'm grateful for, he thought. How hard can that be? His mind went silent. Not peaceful silent, empty silent. He realized something that made him uncomfortable. He had trained himself so well to look for what was wrong that when asked to look for what was right, his mind froze. Minutes passed. Finally, he wrote the first thing that came to him. 1. I woke up today. It felt basic, almost embarrassing, but it was true. He paused, then wrote again. 2. The bed was warm and comfortable, still simple, still awkward. He hesitated longer on the 3rd line. After a moment, he wrote, 3. Lena is still here. He closed the notebook. Nothing magical happened. No rush of happiness, no sudden clarity. If anything, he felt slightly foolish, but he had done it. That day moved on like any other. Traffic was still annoying. Emails were still frustrating. Meetings still dragged on. And yet, something subtle followed him. Every now and then, his mind drifted back to the notebook, to those 3 sentences. They didn't erase his problems, but they softened the edge. Day 5. By the 5th morning, the exercise still felt strange but less forced. Evan's entries became slightly more detailed. 1. Lena laughed at something stupid I said last night. 2. My coffee was the perfect temperature this morning. 3. I hit all green lights on the way to work yesterday. He didn't feel transformed, but he noticed something. He wasn't as irritated by small inconveniences. He still complained, but less. Day 12. Something unexpected happened. Evan was sitting in a long, tense meeting when sunlight broke through the clouds and spilled across the conference room wall, creating shifting patterns. Normally, he wouldn't have noticed. This time, he did. And without thinking, a quiet thought crossed his mind. That's actually kind of beautiful. Then another thought followed. I'll write about that tomorrow. The realization stopped him cold. For the first time in years, he wasn't scanning the moment for what was wrong. He was noticing what was right, not because life had changed, because his attention had. Evan thought noticing small moments was harmless. He didn't realize that by day 17, those moments would start changing how he saw himself and how others saw him too. By day 17, Evan could feel it. Not happiness, not excitement, clarity. The mornings no longer felt like something to survive. They felt neutral, sometimes even gentle. And for someone who used to wake up already irritated, neutral felt like a victory. His gratitude entries had changed again. They were no longer forced lists. They were observations. 1. The sound of rain against the window this morning. It felt calming instead of annoying. 2. A coworker brought extra coffee for the team without being asked. 3. The trees on my street are getting greener. Spring is coming. What surprised Evan wasn't what he wrote. It was how his days felt afterward. Problems still showed up. Deadlines still existed. People were still imperfect. But those things no longer swallowed him whole. When something frustrating happened, it didn't automatically define the entire day. The fog was thinning. Lena noticed it before Evan fully did. One evening, as they were washing dishes together, she looked at him and smiled. "You feel lighter," she said. "What did you change?" Evan hesitated, then grabbed the notebook from the counter and handed it to her. She flipped through the pages slowly. Early entries were short, stiff, almost apologetic. Later ones were fuller, warmer, more alive. Her eyes softened. "You're coming back," she whispered. That sentence hit Evan harder than he expected, because he knew exactly what she meant. He wasn't becoming someone new. He was reconnecting with someone he had lost. By day 25, something happened that would have seemed impossible a month earlier. Evan woke up before his alarm, not because he had to, because he wanted to write. That morning, his entry surprised even him. 1. I woke up curious about the day. I don't remember the last time that happened. 2. Lena sleeping peacefully next to me. 3. Realizing that my thoughts don't control me, I can guide them. He sat there for a long time after closing the notebook, not overwhelmed, present. And then came day 30. Evan returned to the park at 5:30 a.m., unsure if the old man would be there. He was. Same bench, same birds, same calm smile. Evan sat beside him and handed over the now-filled notebook. I did it, Evan said quietly. 30 days. The old man turned the pages slowly. And? He asked. Evan swallowed. You were right, he said. My life didn't change much, but I did. I see differently. I feel here. His voice cracked. I didn't realize how much joy I'd buried under years of practiced negativity. The old man placed a gentle hand on his shoulder. It was never gone, he said. You simply practiced something else. Evan thought the 30 days were the finish line. But what the old man said next revealed the truth. This wasn't a challenge at all. It was a way of living. Evan sat quietly on the park bench, the notebook resting in his hands like proof of something fragile but real. So, what now? He asked. The old man didn't hesitate. Now you keep going, he said. Forever. Evan laughed softly. Forever sounds like a lot. The old man smiled. So did 30 days, until you did them one at a time. He tossed a few more crumbs to the birds. This was never a challenge, he continued. Challenges end. This is a practice. Some days you'll write easily, other days you'll have to search. But there will always be something, because life never stops offering small gifts. Evan nodded, understanding more than he expected. What about bad days? He asked. Days when nothing feels good? Those are the most important days, the man replied. Gratitude doesn't erase pain. It gives pain context. It reminds you that suffering is part of life, but it's never the whole story. They sat in silence for a while, watching the sky lighten. 6 months later, Evan still writes his 3 gratitudes every morning. Not because he forces himself, because it feels incomplete if he doesn't. And his job is the same. The city is the same. Life still throws problems his way. But his experience of life is different. He doesn't wake up scanning for threats anymore. He wakes up curious. His relationship with Lena is stronger. Conversations feel warmer. Laughter comes back more easily. When hard moments arrive, they pass through him instead of settling in. Every few weeks, Evan meets the old man in the park. They don't talk much. They don't need to. Watching the world wake up together is enough. Remember this. Life doesn't get better by chance. It gets better by choice. And sometimes that choice only takes 5 minutes. Tomorrow morning, before the world rushes in, before the noise, that's where everything begins.